One kid killing the parents is a bad seed. Two kids killing the parents is a bad family.
Do you ever take photographs of you and your brother?
Yes.
And what would the circumstances be in which he would take photographs?
He would take photographs of us, our private parts.
And would he have you come in and pose for these photographs, or how would that happen?
I would just, if we were in the showers or bathtub or changing, he would just use the same camera that my mother used, and then he would come in and take just a photograph or two, and he wouldn't say anything, and then he would leave.
Do you ever show you those photos?
No.
Excuse me. Do you recognize the handwriting on the front?
That's my mother's.
And what does it say?
Erik's birthday, November 1976.
And in November 1976, how old would you have been?
8.
23. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
And who is that?
That's me.
224?
That's Erik.
226?
That's Erik and myself and some other boys.
You have to speak up.
Some other boys and Erik and myself. Sorry.
And do you recognize some mark on your brother?
The birthmark? The birthmark on his right wrist. It's a large brown birthmark.
The two photographs here with Mark, one which you've identified as yourself and the other one as Erik, which are children without clothes, also appear to be children without clothes.
He would be focused on those areas, but I didn't see I've never seen these pictures.
Is today the first time you've seen these pictures? Is that yes?
Yes.
Did your dad used to have talks with you about sex between men?
Yes.
And what types of situations would he talk to you about?
He would talk about the bonding between men, going into battle or in competitions, mostly with regards to battle and history, and that sexual interaction and touching and hugging, but also sex was throughout history was something that men that had gone into battle had done together. Had me read passages about it.
What do you mean, had you read passages about it? What would he give you to read?
Excuse me, Your Honor, can we have a time period, please?
Yes.
What time are we talking about in your life?
Talking about when I was 6.
What would he have you read?
He had history books with passages outlined, various battles and strategy, but in terms of on this subject, there would be particular passages about Greeks, soldiers having had sex with each other before they went into battle as a way of bonding with each other so they have a stronger connection. And he would talk about the same thing with regards to sports and he and I.
And did he talk about fathers and their firstborn sons in this regard?
Not in this. Not that that's what. I'm not understanding the question.
Did he talk about You said he talked about soldiers and having sex between them as a bonding mechanism.
Yes.
Did he talk about teachers and students?
No.
Did he?
Oh, yes, he did actually. Not teachers. He talked to me about, I don't know, they were like lecturers or traveling lecturers, professors, and they would have arrangements with very close special students, young boys. And they would have sex and they would touch each other.
And did he talk about it with regard to fathers and sons?
He talked about it with regard to our relationship as being very special and our family history with the firstborn and the father.
And what was special about the relationship of the firstborn and the father?
That it was special, and that that was really all that mattered, was the firstborn, and that the sons should do what the fathers say, and then they grow up and they become like the father, and the father teaches them and molds them, and someday me and my son do the same.
And between the ages of 6 and 8, did your father have sexual contact with you?
Yes.
And how did it start?
Just started with, after sports practices, he would massage me, and we would have these talks, and he would show me, and he would fondle me, and he would ask me to do the same with him, and I would touch him, and we would undress.
Where would this
and it
take
was
place?
in my bedroom.
And how often would this happen?
Like 2 or 3 times a week.
And for how long did this happen?
Not too long. It began to change.
When did it begin to change?
I'm not sure exactly at what time, but almost close to when I was 7.
And how did it change?
Just became more involved.
What do you mean more involved?
We would be in the bathroom, and he would put me on my knees, and he would guide me, all my movements, and I would have oral sex with him.
Did you want to do this? At some point, did he do some other things to you?
Yes.
What else did he do to you?
He used objects,
What kind of objects?
a toothbrush, and some sort of shaving utensil brush.
And what would he do with the toothbrush?
Well, in the bedroom, we'd have what we called object sessions, and just slide my pants down or take my pants off. Sometimes it would be for a short period of time, sometimes longer. Just lay me on the bed He'd have a tube of Vaseline, and he just played with me.
And was there some point in time when he decided to use something besides the toothbrush?
Yes.
And did he try to anally penetrate you with something else?
He did.
And what was it?
He raped me.
Did you cry?
Yes.
Did you bleed?
Yes.
Were you scared?
Very.
Did you ask him not to?
Yes.
How did you ask him not to?
I just told him, I don't. I'm sorry. I just told him that I didn't want to do this, and that it hurt me. And he said that he didn't mean to hurt me, and he loved me.
Was that important to you, that he loved you?
Yes, very. But I still didn't want to do it.
Did you tell your mom?
Yes.
What did you say to your mom?
I told her to tell Dad to leave me alone. And he keeps touching me.
What did your mom say?
She told me to stop it, and that I was exaggerating, and that my dad has to punish me when I do things wrong. And she told me that he loved me.
Did you ever tell anybody else?
When?
Did you ever tell anybody else when you were a child? You heard Diane Vandermolen testify. Do you
Yes.
remember telling her?
No.
Did you complain to your cousin Alan?
No, not about that.
Just about punishment. As a child, did you ever tell anybody else what had happened with your dad?
Yes. As a child, no.
Why not?
I was afraid, and my dad didn't want me to.
What did he tell you about telling people?
He just said that it was our secret, that bad things would happen to me if I told anybody. And I told him I never would.
How old were you when this stopped?
8.
So during the time between 6 and 8, when this was going on, did you tell your brother?
No.
Did you do something to your brother?
Yes.
What did you do to your brother?
I took him out to the woods whenever I felt, I don't know, I took him out sometimes, and I took a toothbrush also, and I played with Erik in the same way. And I'm sorry.
It stopped for you with your dad when you were 8. When you were about 13, did you think that it might be happening to someone else?
Yes.
And who did you think it was happening to?
Erik.
And did you do something about it?
Yes.
What did you do?
I talked to my dad.
What did you say to your dad?
I told him that I knew what was going on with him and Erik, and I heard the noises, and that I wanted him to leave Erik alone.
And what did he say to you?
He told me that Erik was that Erik made things up sometimes, but that it would stop, and that we should keep it just between us, or he'd kill me.
Did you ever tell anybody what you thought was going on?
No, I told him I would never tell anybody. I just wanted to stop.
Did he tell you it would stop?
He did.
Leonard, that's as far as I have for today, if that's all right.
All right, you want to take a recess then at this
Yes.
point? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will recess until Monday at 9 o'clock. I want to remind all of you not to discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else. Don't form any final opinions about this case. Don't permit yourself to be exposed to anything at all that relates to this case outside of the courtroom. As I've said many times, you must make your decision based only on the evidence presented to you in the courtroom and my instructions on the law. We'll be in recess until Monday at 9 o'clock. Everyone have a good weekend. We'll see you back here then.